Film soup. Just what the hell is it? Very simply put, souping film is the act of taking your photographic film and soaking it in some kind of hot mixture that will distort your film, cause some artifacts, some of this kind of thing. If, like me, you're shooting film in the year of our Lord 2026, I would wager that the little element of unpredictability and chaos is probably part of the reason. Well, nothing could better exemplify this chaos than souping film, and today I'm going to show you just how to do it. You could say I cooked you this soup with my own blood, sweat, and tears, and money. A lot of money. So please do the things, like, comment, and subscribe, and on with the show. Oh, that's a nice one. When souping film, here are the 4 things to keep in mind. Number 1, the film needs to be hot. Soak it in boiling water for at least 30 minutes. Number 2, what do you soup the film with? I would recommend something either acidic or alkaline. Also, anything that will visibly react and dissolve in water, like medical tablets, baking soda, anything that will have a visible fizzly reaction. Number 3, rinse your film after. This is to ensure that there's no chemicals left on the film that will continue to dig away at the emulsion while it's being dried, which, wait, did I say 4 or 5? Number 4, dry the film. I recommend using a clothes dryer or a tumble dryer. A hair dryer also works quite well, but you do need to actively do that. The longer you leave it for and the more thoroughly dry it is, the better. Number 5, make sure you only send souped film to a lab that accepts souped film. Don't just give it off to your usual lab without letting them know that you have fucked with it. Film soup number 0. Firstly, this is the only time I tried souping film outdoors. I was tagging along with my friend Nick to burn his chef's uniform. So it's a normal weekday. We had this little camping burner with us, and I just boiled the film, boiled it like an egg. Then I added these 3 ingredients: apple cider vinegar, table salt, and dish soap. At this point I wasn't keeping track too carefully of the timings of things, but the whole process from beginning to end was less than an hour. After souping it for a bit, I added it to my trusty camera lens mug, put the top on and shook it around with some water to try and rinse out the film. And then I just left it to dry on my windowsill for I think about 2 weeks. Once I'd pretty much just run out of patience, I loaded the film into my backup SLR camera, the Zenit, and I started snapping. This is the only time I tried to soup film before shooting it rather than after, and it will be the last, because this fucked my camera. Now, while shooting, I noticed that when winding the film, it was a bit more stiff and resistant than usual. This should have been a warning sign. Obviously, as you can see on the film leader, the film has gotten really crunchy and warped and fucked up from all the chemicals and the high temperatures. But the real trouble came when I was rewinding the film. With each turn of the crank, I could feel the resistance increasing and increasing and increasing until... Oh no. So not only have I broken my camera, I can't even see the results, which honestly I'm a little bit more bummed out about. Luckily I was able to go over to a camera store which was able to extract the film in their dark room and then also replace the rewind crank. They told me don't do it again, but just as a little cherry on top, I sent the film off to be developed and it was blank.
My disappointment is immeasurable. And my day is ruined.
Let's just move on to something that we can actually look at. Film soup number 1. Espresso martini. I'll be the first to admit, I came up with this one because I like the name. Also, I was being a bit of a cheapskate and using expired film for my first few experiments. My first attempt was with a expired Konica film. I've shot expired Konica before. It already had quite an extreme color shift towards pink, which was very nice. And it did make something really nice and colorful and crazy, but I don't think it had anything to do with the Konica film. I think it was just a fucking coffee. But let's rewind a little bit. What did I do for this film? Well, like I mentioned, I first soaked the film in hot water. I then prepared a French press of coffee, and I put the film canister on top of the filter to not get any big coffee grinds into the film. Already, we're doing a few things differently from our failed first attempt. This film has already been shot. We're just gonna soup it, rinse it, dry it, and get it developed. So I put the final concoction into my trusty camera mug. I thought this would keep it nice and warm. As soon as we got there, rinsed the film, chucked it in the tumble dryer, and took it out. Then it's off to the races. We're sending it to Analog Wonderland and hoping for the best. This coffee soup did in fact come out, but it's more soup than film. As you can see, we got a very heavy overlay of these yellow and blue waves sort of undulating between the two, and these little specks are what seems to be really fine coffee grounds, and overall it's just letting very little of the actual image come through, which is a bit of a shame because I'd actually taken care to shoot a lot of people's cups of coffee and coffee breaks. I thought it was a really cute little gimmick. But anyway, basically this was a success. We souped film, we got some really strong effects on it, and now it was just a matter of reverse engineering it and trying to get something a little bit more visible. And that's what I did for a second attempt at the Espresso Martini, this time using expired Kodak Gold. What did we do differently this time? Well, I actually used a much less concentrated amount of coffee and less time as well. I would say this one is too weak while the other one is too strong. I think we gotta speed things up here, though. We got a lot of film soup to get through, so on to the next. Now for our second experiment, I decided to use a different stimulant, Coke. Have you ever seen those experiments where people try to leave something soaking in Coke overnight or something, and you see like how it's completely dissolved because Coke is basically like acid? I thought that the amounts of chemicals and horrible things that destroy your tooth enamel would probably also have some interesting things going on the film. Now, unfortunately, I may have played things a little bit too safe once again. Firstly, I only left the film to soak in the boiling water for 10 minutes instead of 30. I used a 50-50 ratio of Coca-Cola and hot water, and I only soaked the film for 1 hour. I probably could have been a bit more adventurous, but I had all these, nightmares in my head about the sugar sticking to the film strip and covering it up, and that did not end up happening. Only like 3 or 4 of the shots on this roll of film really came out with obvious soupy qualities to them. I would suggest if you do a Kodak and Coke, you try to go a bit further with it. Anyway, next. Okay, successful film soup recipe number 3, Kodak and dish soap. This film I was even more paranoid about. I thought the soap would be much stronger, and I only actually soaked it in the soap for 30 minutes, the shortest amount of time I souped any of these films. I also only used 50 milliliters of dish soap to 200 milliliters of hot water. I mean, as soon as I started filling up the jigger and pouring it in, I realized, holy shit, this is a lot of dish soap. So I was sure that this whole mess was gonna be really destructive on the film. It wasn't, but it was cool. And this might also be a good time to mention that most of the films I souped were Kodak Color Plus or Kodak Gold. So this sort of iridescent rainbow color may be a way that different chemicals react specifically with Kodak emulsions. We've got 3 experiments left to cover here. One of them was very simple, just lemon juice, but I tried to soup it for as long as I could. I boiled the film for 20 minutes, so still, in hindsight, a bit short. And again, I think I used too little lemon juice. So we had 200 milliliters of boiling water, 50 milliliters of lemon juice. We'll see the results, but the main thing is I left the film to soak in this substance for 6 hours. Obviously, the hot water is slowly cooling down over time. And I think in hindsight, if I'm gonna do another really long soup, I may keep it on the heat and see if that actually keeps it reacting for the full time. But let's look at some results. This soup definitely worked, but considering I let it soak for 6 times the amount of time as any other film soup, I would expect to see way more. Basically what we have here is a sort of slight pink magenta color shift, similar to what I had on that expired Konica that I didn't soup many years ago. It's really not what I expected. I'm not saying it's bad, but I wouldn't pay twice as much to develop this film just to have a little bit of pink on it. There's some really nice shots here, but I think we've figured out that concentration is maybe even more important than time. That maybe that initial period when the film has just started reacting, it's got the heat and it's just been introduced to the chemicals, that is the crucial time. And if the concentration is really weak, then you're kind of wasting that moment. And the rest of the time it's soaking, it's just sort of slowly, shifting the colors a little bit. It's not doing that crazy organic patterns that we're actually looking for here. We're down to our last 2 experiments here, and I'm actually gonna flip the script on them because I want to leave the best for last. And the actual last one dovetails nicely with what we just talked about. Salt and vinegar. Yes, I thought the name was funny, because crisps. Going off of our lemon juice results, we tried another deep soak. 8 hours this time. Obviously vinegar is quite acidic, so maybe it shouldn't come as a surprise that the results were a little bit similar to the deep soaked lemon juice. We got a very strong, much stronger this time, magenta color shift. And there's also a thickness to it. Some shots, especially overexposed shots, do also show that sort of iridescent rainbow gradient. And some shots also do just seem to be a tiny bit underexposed because there's this thick film, no pun intended, of vinegar over it. You do want to think about sort of the consistency and stickiness of what you're using. If it's just going to stay on the film, or if it was going to cause a reaction and then wash off. But I'm running out of patience here. I really gotta show you this. This is what it's all about, baby. We got there in the end. Kodak and baking soda. My God. I could not believe my eyes when I got these results. I mean, obviously we've destroyed most of the images, but just as an interesting way to make some abstract visuals, you know, organically, it's really cool. And when you can see a bit of the image, there's some really cool random effects going on where this has obviously done a lot to the film. It's fucked with it quite heavily, and you can see parts where the emulsion is just fully stripped off. It's almost like it's been cut with scissors. But most of the roll is just these abstract patterns, and I think it looks sick. Bears mentioning also that we're working with a different color scheme, and if you think about it, this is baking soda. It's alkaline. It's very different from the majority of our ingredients, which have been acidic. I'd be very interested to try some more alkaline recipes in the future. Let's look at some numbers. We boiled the film for 30 minutes. I shook the film in the shaker with 100 mils of warm water and 3 teaspoons of baking soda. Quite a lot. And I think that initial shake was part of what caused these cool reactions on the film. But we soaked it for 3 hours, so that's sort of a middling amount of time. So if you want to pick up the experiment, keep going with it, you can just change the numbers around. Try less concentrated, more time, more concentrated, less time, things like that. Maybe throw something else in there, who knows? But we can definitely say that the baking soda experiment was the most interesting one. Well, I hope you learned something today. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself. While editing this video, I learned that I keep gripping onto this camera mug like it's my emotional support animal. If you want to help keep my emotional support mug filled, you can now buy me a coffee over on Buy Me a Coffee. Link down in the description. And while I'm plugging myself, I now have a website, DanielBrownStory.com. If any of the analog antics that you've seen on this channel so far interest you and you want a little bit of that flavor in your project, well, hit me up on DanielBrownStory.com. There's gonna be a follow-up to this video, a second serving if you please. Maybe in a couple months' time. I got some really cool ideas for what to do now that we've done the basic research and kind of know what we're doing. So make sure you come back for some more hot soup. But in the meanwhile, I got quite a few other projects coming up. We got a couple movie reviews, and oh, just got a message. It seems my friend Dan H has come across some Mystery Super 8. We've sent it off to be developed, and we'd love to share what we've found. Big, massive thank you to my partner in crime, Olive, for making my new logo. Look at that. Now that is some clever design. Well, hope to see you in a couple weeks' time for some more content. Bye.